Okay, good morning, students. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great. So today we are going to discuss about the longest lesson in this grade 11 syllabus, biological processes of human body. And during the first session, we are going to discuss about digestive system and respiratory system. And in the second session, we are going to discuss about excretory system, circulatory system, and lymphatic system. And finally, about the diseases of all the systems and the nervous system. Okay, so first system we have to learn is digestive system. Okay. Okay, so when we come into the topic digestive system, we have to refer about what is digestion. First, we have to think about what is meant by digestion, what is digestion, and what are the functions of this digestion process. Okay, so when we come in simply, when someone asks, we can say that digestion means when we eat something and it get absorbed into our body, the energy we eat energy, we eat food. Okay, so we eat food to do what? We eat energy to get energy. So that how this energy transport within our body, how the energy we get obtained through eating food get absorbed into our body and transported within our body. The energy we are taken from food, energy from food is absorbed into our body, and it is finally going into the blood, and blood transports all these nutrients to the relevant parts of our body. So this is what we mean by digestive system is the energy we are obtaining. First, we are converting our food into energy forms, and then they are transported into blood, and finally we know that in every process there is a waste product. Okay, in every process there is a waste product, so that finally the waste products remaining will exit. The exit of waste products happen. So when it asks, that means they are not going to ask like that. So I just gave a rough idea about digestion process. Okay. Then we'll see the definition they have given in the textbook and what we have to study about digestion. Here we know that we eat some complex molecules like pieces of breads and some rice. Likewise, buns. Likewise, we are eating the complex. We are taking the nutrients in complex forms. That means we eat carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, minerals. Likewise, we are taking them in complex forms. That means carbohydrates, proteins, they are complex forms of food. So that we know that first what we eat, when we eat something, it is transferred into our buccal cavity. Then through the esophagus, it is moving into the stomach. Likewise, it is moving through the entire digestive system. But from this digestive system, these nutrients have to be transferred into the blood capillaries. Okay, so that we know that energy should be transferred into that nutrition forms to get energy. To get energy, these nutrition forms should be transferred into the blood capillaries. So that first, when we eat something, they should be absorbed into the blood. They should be, after digestion, they should be absorbed into the blood. But there is something that if we eat a piece of bread, it can't be absorbed into the capillary walls as itself. Piece of bread they can make absorb in the bed. They have to be broken down into simple molecules. Why is that? Because blood capillary walls are very small. So that due to the small, that means blood capillary walls are very small. So that the wall should be, the molecule should be very small in order to transfer into these blood capillaries. Okay, so that this what you mean by digestion is the breaking down of these complex ions. Complex ions means carbohydrates, proteins, likewise those things we eat from our food. Breaking down of these complex molecules into simple molecules and getting ready to absorb into the blood. That is what we call as digestion. So that the process of breaking down, the process by which complex organic compounds are converted into simple organic products, and to be and using to be absorbed into the human body is called as digestion. So we are going to write the definition for the digestion. Yes, we are going to write the definition. Yes, there is one other participant. Okay, so now we are going to write the definition for the digestion. That is, it is the process by which it is the process by which complex organic molecules This is the definition for the digestive system. The process by which it is the process by which complex organic molecules like carbohydrates and proteins are converted into simple organic molecules like amino acids and monosaccharides. Likewise, we have to learn those things later. And to be the final aim, the final goal of digestion is the absorption of these nutrients, the end product of digestion, into our body. That means actually body means the blood capillaries, and to be distributed those nutrients within our body. Okay, so this is the digestive system, the digestion definition. And then we should know that there are two types of digestion. That is mechanical. That is mechanical digestion, and chemical digestion. So digestion is of two types. What are the two types? Mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. So what is meant by mechanical digestion and what is meant by chemical digestion? What is the difference between these two things? Here, I'm going to say like that. Say like this. Mechanical digestion means we know that I'll tell that in Sinhala. Then mechanical digestion we imagine that mechanics in mechanical digestion we know that means here mechanics කියවම අපිට අපේ mind එකට එන්නේ මොකක් හරි දෙයක් mechanics වලින් what is somewhat motion එකකින් මොකක් හරි digestion එකක් වෙනවා කියලා. Yes, that is actually that is the correct meaning. That means මොකක හරි motion එකක් නිසා දැන් අපි කියනවා digestive system එකේ වෙන continuous motion එකට we are giving some name. That is peristaltic movement. That is vibrating the esophagus, or vibrating the stomach, and these vibrations that are taking place in the vibrations that are taking place in the esophagus and the stomach, we call that and digestion. Digestion of the food we are eating, we are taken into the body, and digestion of these digestion of the food that we are taken into the body by the mechanical methods. That means by the vibrations like peristaltic movements that is taking place in the body is called as mechanical digestion. That means what? From mechanical digestion, what happens? The physical nature of the food is changing. The physical nature of the food is changing. What do you mean by physical nature? Physical nature kya if I take my hand and I'm going to cut this hand into 5, 4, 3, 6 parts, and then it is called as I have changed the physical nature of my hand. Okay? And I'm going to take this marker and I'm going to chop this. So that the physical nature of this marker is changed. And I'm going to get a piece of ice, and I am allowing it to melt. So that the physical nature of ice is changing into the liquid form. Likewise, during the mechanical digestion, the physical nature of the food is changing. The physical nature of the food is changing. Imagine what are the examples that for the mechanical digestion that is taking place in our body? Where simply when we eat, we are that means we are chewing and we are eating. That when we are eating, we are biting the things and we are chewing the things. Likewise, why do we do that? Why do we do such processes? To alter the physical nature of the food. That means අපේ මේ bread slice of bread එක එහෙමම digest කර ගන්නවට වැඩිය එහෙමම අපේ esophagus එකට යවනවට වැඩිය the process of digestion is converting these complex organic molecules into simple organic molecules so that our aim is to convert this complex piece of bread into simple molecules. So we start the digestion process from the buccal cavity itself. So that in the buccal cavity, first we do mechanical digestion. What is that? Breaking down of large food particles, or we can say like complex food particles according to science vocabulary. Large food particles into small food particles. Food particles by what? By teeth. Okay. Then අපේ teeth. From our teeth, අපි eat කරන food, small particles වලට හපලා අයින් කරගන්න එකත්, it is also a digestion process. Okay. Okay, someone is asking the permission to record. Yeah. Teacher should be answer to the tutor while you are teaching. Yes, if you can, it will be great, because if you can answer to the tutor while I'm teaching, that is great, because some of you may have come. Yes, I gave the permission to record. You discuss the tute later. Yes, I will. If we couldn't do the discuss the tute later, I will definitely upload the discussion of the tute, or I will send the answers for the tute. Okay. First, we'll continue the session and we'll see how the time is spending and how we can do the things and manage things. Okay. Okay, so the mechanical digestion, breaking down of large food particles into small food particles by teeth. Now you will think, is that mechanical digestion only happen in our buccal cavity, and is it only done by our teeth? No. And there is another organ where the mechanical digestion is happening. That is stomach. Stomach, how that mechanical digestion is happening? We know that here. First, I say like this. We are eating. When we eat food, we are from the chewing action, from the breaking down by teeth, after food broken down by teeth, and then after mixing it with salivary amylase, these food particles are converted into bolus when it transfers along the esophagus. Okay. Then when it moves to the stomach, when it moves to the stomach, what is happening? It is converted into chyme. Okay, you can pronounce it in any way you like. We can convert it into chyme, or I'll pronounce it like chyme. Okay, I like that word. This bolus is converted into chyme. Okay, likewise, how this bolus is converted into chyme. Sometimes you may haven't heard this word bolus and chyme. Okay, so food get digested in the food that is subjected to mechanical and chemical digestion within the buccal cavity is transferred into bolus when it transfers from along the esophagus, and then it is transferred into then it is converted into chyme when it is subjected to the mechanical digestion in the stomach. That means within the stomach, this bolus is converted into chyme due to the mechanical action of the stomach. So what is the mechanical action of stomach? That is also peristaltic movement. That means that means in the teeth, the breaking down of large food particles into small food particles is one type of mechanical digestion that is taking place in the buccal cavity by in the aid of teeth, and then this converting this bolus into chyme is another example for the mechanical digestion that is taking place in the stomach due to the peristaltic movement that is taking place in the stomach. So what is this peristaltic movement? Peristaltic movement and mehema. Our stomach is a motion. There is some sort of a motion in our stomach and it is like this. Okay, so this motion is called as peristaltic motion, peristaltic movement. So that there are two examples for the mechanical digestion, that is breaking down of large food particles into small food particles by teeth. I'm going to write it like this. I'm going to write it like this here, because due to the lack of space, I'm going to write by teeth. You have to write down it like this, by teeth, and then by peristaltic, due to the peristaltic movement of stomach. Okay, these are the two examples that for the mechanical digestion that is taking place in the in our body. That means mainly regarding the digestive system. Hope you all understand. Okay, and then we are moving to the major part, that is chemical digestion. Here, when we are stepping into the chemical digestion, we have to remember some chemical reactions. Okay, you are bright students, so that I know that you have already studied these equations, but the case is you are forgetting it. Okay, so that mechanical digestion, that is and this one is chemical digestion. Chemical digestion. When it goes to chemical digestion, chemical digestion is taken place in three places in the digestive system. First place is buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. Then the second place is stomach. And then the third one is in the small intestine. So you might think even the breaking down of food particles within the buccal cavity by the aid of teeth is also taken, which is come under the mechanical digestion topic, is also taken place in the buccal cavity. That means the conclusion is what? Both mechanical digestion and chemical digestion is happening in the buccal cavity. And then you know that here peristaltic movement, then mechanical the peristaltic, due to the peristaltic movement of the stomach, the food is broken down in, I said earlier that food is broken down into, that means food is converted into bolus, the bolus converted into chyme, okay? And that also happened in the stomach. And here I'm saying chemical digestion also happens in the stomach. So what is the conclusion? Both mechanical digestion and chemical digestion happens in what? In the stomach. So that, as I know, mechanical digestion is not happening in small intestine. Okay. So that only chemical digestion happen in small intestine. Okay. So I said that we have to remember chemical reactions. So we'll move on to this. Okay. First reaction that is taking place in the buccal cavity. We know that we can feel that there is a fluid called saliva within our buccal cavity. Okay. Within our buccal cavity, there is a fluid called saliva. Okay. Here, this saliva contains some sort of amide, some sort of enzymes. Okay. And in our syllabus, we had to study only about one reaction that is taking place in our mouth, that is in our buccal cavity, and it is done by one enzyme. That enzyme name is we can say it as salivary amylase. Salivary amylase, and also there is another name for that. That is, this is like a similar name. There is another name for the salivary amylase. That is we call it as thiolene. Thiolene. Okay. So what is the thing? What is the function of this enzyme? The function is breaking down of starch into maltose. Okay, breaking down of starch into maltose. Okay, so that is, so I'm not going to, I'm going to give 1 minute for you all to write this down and to memorize all these things. Okay, මේ දැන් මේ මම කියලා දුන්නේ ඒවා ටික ටග්ගල් මතක තියාගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් කැමති අය ලියාගන්න. එහෙම කරගන්න. I'm giving you 1 minute. Time of 1 minute. Okay. And also send me your suggestions and requests, and then I can do somewhat with your request and suggestions. Yes. One student is asking what kind of digestion happens in large intestine. Okay. Actually, digestion is not taken place in large intestine. Okay. That means the what is happening in large intestine is absorption of water back into the body. Okay. I will teach teach that later. That means, yes, I will teach that later. Absorption of water back into the body happens in the large intestine. Okay, then yeah. We are going to discuss about the chemicals that is adding to the stomach after this. Okay. Okay. I'll send you a recording. Hello. Link it. Link it. Okay. I think that the question of you all are over. Okay. Okay, then we are going to move on to our next part. Okay. So remember, what you have to remember here is we just stepped into the chemical digestion topic. Okay. That means we just discussed the chemical digestion that is taking place in the buccal cavity. That is conversion of starch into maltose using, then that is done by what? The amylase, then by the enzyme called salivary amylase. Okay. And then, so I'm going to erase the board. Okay. 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 Then we were discussing about the chemical digestion. First, the chemical digestion here. First, the chemical digestion we talked about the chemical digestion that is taking in buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරේ buccal cavity එකේ take place කරන digestion එක ගැන. Okay. I'm going to tell something in Sinhala also because some requests are there to do the seminar in Singlish also. Okay. There were 3-4 requests. That is why I'm going to do that like that. Buccal cavity again, when a digestion again, we have discussed what is that? Starch turning into maltose by the aid of salivary amylase, or there is a similar word for this salivary amylase, that is thiolate. Okay. Then what is happening in the stomach? Then we are moving into the stomach. But we know that when we eat something, first it is moving into the buccal cavity, then it is moving into the pharynx, which is a common passage to both respiratory system and digestive system. And it is moving into the esophagus, then it is moving into the stomach, then into the small intestine, then into the large intestine, and finally into the rectum, and then it is exit into the anus. Okay. So now we are going to discuss the chemical digestions that are taking place in the stomach. Okay. Simply, all these digestions are taking place due to enzymes. The enzymes nisa thamai me hama digestion ekakma wenni. Okay. So it is like this. First, we have to study what are the enzymes that are secreted into the stomach. මේ stomach එකට secrete වෙන enzymes වල විද්‍යානුව තමයි අපිට decide කරන්න පුළුවන් what kind of a digestion is happening. So this is what I'm going to say. There are 3 secretions that are secreted into the stomach during the digestion process. First, there is one enzyme, 2 enzymes and one acid. That is, first we'll talk about acid. Acid is HCl. That means hydrochloric acid. And then the second one is the enzyme pepsin. Enzyme called pepsin. And then I'm telling all these things according to your syllabus. Okay. HCl, enzyme pepsin enzyme. And then there is one enzyme called renin. Okay, renin, but it is only present in babies. That means that enzyme is only present in babies, means what? The infants. Okay. So we'll discuss about what is happening, what is caused by these things. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Then first, stomach. First, what is done by this pepsin is actually, it is not, it should be converted. This pepsin is not in the activated form. It can mean stomach eකට secrete වෙනවත් එක්කම this is not in activated form. It can හරියට inactive එකෙක් වගේ තමයි ඒක stomach එකට secrete වෙන්නේ. Okay. So that this, what should be done? First, this pepsin should be activated. Pepsin activation එකක් වෙන්න. Okay, this pepsin activation should happen. So what do you mean by pepsin activation? Who do this? HCl, hydrochloric acid, is the one who is doing the pepsin activation. Okay, pepsin ට එයාගේ activity එක, enzymatical activity එක කරන්න පුළුවන් if only it get activated. So that what does this acid called hydrochloric acid do? It is going to activate this pepsin. Okay. So here, first step of stomach digestion, pepsin is activated by HCl, or we call it as hydrochloric acid. Then, what is happening? Then this pepsin, now the pepsin is activated, so that pepsin enzyme, what is going to do by this pepsin is, they are going to digest the proteins into polypeptides. Okay, proteins into polypeptides by this pepsin. So what does this pepsin do? They are going to convert this pepsin for proteins into polypeptides. So if I ask, out of these proteins and polypeptides, which is larger? What is the larger particle? May polypeptides එකයි proteins එකයි ලොකු එකක් කවුද? Definitely your answer should be polypeptide. ලොකු එකක් කවුද කියලා නෑ මම. Definitely your answer should be proteins. Why is that? The digestion means, during the digestion, what is happening? the complex molecules are breaking down into simple molecules. So that here, these proteins have been converted into polypeptides. That means complex protein have been broken into, converted into simple molecule polypeptides. Okay, by the aid of the enzyme called pepsin. So now can it absorb? Can these polypeptides be absorbed into the blood capillaries, into our body? No. Yet it cannot happen because even these polypeptides are very much larger than the size of the blood capillaries. So that still the polypeptides are not permeable for the for these polypeptides. That means polypeptides are too large so that it can't pass through the walls of the capillary walls. Okay, so that means it have to be digested further, but that digestion is not happening in stomach anymore. Okay, so the only reaction we have to study in the stomach digestion is the digestion that is taking place in stomach is protein converted into polypeptide by the action of pepsin. And then we are going to see what is this renin. The renin is it is also enzyme. What does it do is, renin, it do coagulation of milk. Okay, it does coagulation of milk. You have to remember it like that because coagulation of milk, that is somewhat complex, I think, and no need of discussing them in our syllabus. So that you have to remember that pepsin is activated by HCl and these proteins is converted into polypeptides by pepsin, and renin does do the coagulation of milk. Okay, is that the only thing that is done in stomach? Okay, these are the rough things that we have to remember. And we have to, now you might think, then හිතනවා ඇති, හරි ඒ කියන්නේ protein විතරද මේ stomach එකේදී digest වෙන්නේ? That might be a question. No. Protein දැන් අපි මේ stomach kicking ඊළඟට යන්නේ කොහෙටද? Stomach kicking, then the food particles. Then the food particle, that means the chyme from the small stomach then moves into the intestine. When it is stepping into the intestine, what is happening? What is actually happening is, we know that proteins are digested, but it is not totally digested. Totally digested now, මේ polypeptides එක blood වලට absorb වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. But I said that these polypeptides are large in size, so still it cannot be absorbed into the blood, so that we can conclude that partially digested proteins are there. Partially digested proteins are there. And then what about carbohydrates? Carbohydrate digestion එකක් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? We knew that අපේ buccal cavity එකේදීම salivary amylase වලින් maltose වලට convert වුණා. මේ starch ටික. So either කිසිම digestion එකක් වෙන්නේ නැද්ද carbohydrates වල මේ stomach එකේදී? We can say no, that means actually no. Carbohydrate digestion එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ, but we know that in the mouth, in our buccal cavity, carbohydrate digestion, somewhat carbohydrate digestion is happening. So that එතකොට දැන් buccal cavity එකෙන් පල්ලෙහාට එන්නේ මොනවද? digest වෙච්ච සමහර carbohydrates ටික පල්ලෙහාට එනවා to the stomach cavity. So that when we take in the output from the stomach එකෙන් intestine එකට යන අයව ගත්තොත් කවුද යන්නේ? Partially digested proteins. So what? Carbohydrates? No carbohydrate digestion is taking place in stomach. And then what happens? But we know that අපේ buccal cavity එකේදී small digestion of carbohydrates happen. That means from the aid of salivary amylase, these carbohydrates starch was broken into maltose. එතකොට some digested carbohydrates and some undigested carbohydrates were transferred into the small intestine from the stomach එකෙන් small intestine එකට යන්නේ partially digested proteins and some undigested and digested carbohydrates. What about lipids? Lipids are main nutrition forms of the lipids. Lipids are not yet digested. Lipids are digested, so that undigested lipids are moving into the small intestine. Okay, so that we know that partially undigested proteins, undigested and digested carbohydrates, and undigested lipids, and water, minerals, and some vitamins are also moving into the small intestine. Okay. Okay. That is the summary that is taking place of the reaction that is taking place in stomach. You might ask. There is another one point. One point. On a digestion related, the things related to digestion is over. Have I some sort of absorption? What is the goal and aim of this digestion? අපේ මේ end products එක blood stream එකට release කරන එක තමයි අපේ ultimate goal එක digestion. So that what is happening? මොකද්ද තව වෙන්නේ මේ stomach එකේදී? Some water and some mineral ions and some water and some glucose and some drugs. Water, that means water, glucose, and some drugs. Not all the drugs. Some drugs. Some drugs are absorbed. Make a digest them, absorbed into the blood stream. Okay. They are absorbed into the bloodstream. So these are the four things happening in the stomach. Pepsin activates HCl, proteins breaking down into polypeptides by pepsin, and renin, coagulation of milk, water, glucose, and some drugs are absorbed into the bloodstream. Okay. Yes. Yes. Proteins. I have got many chats like proteins. What is that? May I know why is that? Two students have texted me. Did I do any mistake? Yes. That they have given the answer for the question I asked. Yes, that is true. Okay. So these are the great. Thank you for your good answers. Those are correct. And I'm really happy that you are being active in this session. Okay, so that buccal cavity is the first thing, stomach. Then finally we are moving on to the digestion that is taking place in small intestine. Okay, so I'm going to erase this buccal cavity part due to the lack of space. Okay, small intestine. And students, before going to the small intestine, I have to say collectively this is known as, these three things is known as because this is in infants, these two things is known as gastric juice. I wanted to say this is collectively known as gastric juice. Okay, gastric juice, and then we are moving to the small intestine part. Okay, and then we are moving to the small intestine part. So what are the reactions that is taking place in the small intestine? First, we have to say what is get secreted. We know that gastric juice is secreted into the stomach, into our stomach. So what is going to happen what is going to secrete into the small intestine? There are two types of secretions that are secreted into the small intestine. Stomach gastric juice secrete. That means HCl and pepsin secrete. But in the small intestine, what is going to happen? Small intestine secretions What are the two secretions? That is intestinal juice and the pancreatic juice. So what you mean by this? Intestinal juice and pancreatic juice and another mean current. intestinal juice කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ මේ intestinal small intestinal walls වලින් secrete කරන enzymes වලට. And pancreatic juice means we know that there is some part called pancreas. I'll draw the structure and show you the later. There is some small structure called pancreas, and this pancreas releasing the enzymes into the small intestine. Okay, so that however, two types of secretions are taken place. Intestinal walls වලින්ම secrete කරන enzymes තුනක් තියෙනවා. They are secreted into the small intestine, and there are another three types of enzymes called pancreatic juice, and that means collectively it is known as pancreatic juice. A pancreatic juice is secreted into the stomach. Stomach from what? It is secreted into the stomach from the pancreas. Pancreas again තමයි small intestine එකට එන්නේ duct එකක් through the pancreatic duct. Okay, so first we'll see what are these enzymes. මේ enzymes මොනවද කියලා බලමු. So you will think මේ දෙකේ මොකක්ද ඉස්සෙල්ලාම වෙන්නේ? Both the things happen at the same time. හැබැයි ඉස්සෙල්ලාම reactions වෙන්නේ නම් pancreas එකේ තියෙන reactions ටික තමයි first happening reactions ටික, because after the enzymes from the pancreas do their function, then only the what? After pancreas do their reactions, then only the intestinal juice can do their reactions. Their reactions undergo their reactions by the end products, by using the end products of the pancreatic juice made. Okay, then I'll explain. Okay, here it is like this. And pancreatic juice types tunai, enzymes tunai, trypsin, amylase, and lipase. Trypsin, amylase, and lipase. I'm going to erase this one, the stomach part, lipase. Okay, lipase. Giving you 1 minute to write this down if you haven't write it yet. So miss, what happened to the minerals and vitamin? Is it absorbed into the blood without any digestion? Yes, I'm going to tell you. You're correct. Okay. Hope you have finished writing this. I'm going to erase the bottom part. That means the stomach part. Okay. We have discussed about three enzymes, that is trypsin, amylase, and lipase. We'll see what they do. Trypsin. First, trypsin. We'll see what this trypsin do. What this trypsin do is we know that. Can you remember what is happening in the? I'm waiting for your comments now. Okay, I'm waiting for your answers. That means what is happening in the stomach to the proteins? What is happening to the proteins in the stomach? They are converted to what? I'm waiting for your answers. Yes, correct. They are converted into, yes, correct. Yes, they are converted into polypeptides. And here, the same process is happening. Trypsin valinut venne same process. That means protein is again converted to some remaining proteins. I said that partially digested protein is going into the small intestine. So what is සමහරක් ඒවා තියෙනවා digest වෙච්ච නැති. So that these proteins are digested into polypeptides within the intestine also. Small intestine එකේදී මේ ඉතුරු proteins එක trypsin වලින්. In the stomach, it was done by pepsin. Small intestine, it is done by trypsin. And this protein is converted into polypeptides by trypsin. Okay. And then we were talking about amylase. Amylase. What does this amylase do? What are the amylase current? Okay. We know that something called salivary amylase were there. In the buccal cavity, there was a reaction that is taken place in the buccal cavity that is due to an enzyme called salivary amylase. What did it do? It converted starch into maltose. නේද? ඒක කරේ starch maltose වලට convert එක කරන එක තමයි මේ salivary amylase කරේ. So that likewise මේ amylase කියන part එක තියෙන නිසා the same thing is happening. What I said මම කිව්වා stomach එකෙන් intestine එකට එන්නේ undigested and digested carbohydrates කියලා. ඉතින් undigested carbohydrates, that means undigested starch particles are converted into maltose. Maltose within the small intestine by the enzyme secreted from the enzyme secreted by the pancreas as pancreatic juice. So that what amylase do? It converts starch into maltose. Then Narsan. What is that? Lipase. Lipase. What does this lipase do? Lipase කිව්වම අපිට මතක් වෙන්නේ lipids, because lipase also starts from L and lipids also starts from L. So that what should be the guess? We should guess. What should this lipase do? මේ lipase මොනවා කරනවද? මේ lipase කරන්නේ මොනවද? Lipids. මොනවද කරන්නේ? Lipids convert කරනවා fatty acids and glycerols වලට. Fatty acids plus glycerol. Then three enzymes, trypsin, amylase, and lipase. And trypsin did the remaining. Trypsin converted these remaining proteins into polypeptides, and the remaining starch was converted into maltose by amylase, and all the lipids, the whole lipid digestion is happening in the small intestine. Why I say like that? Stomach quality digest because from the stomach undigested lipids were transferred into the small intestine, so that the whole digestion of lipids should happen at the small intestine from the pancreatic juice secreted by the pancreas. Okay, so summary. Pancreas secrete three enzymes, trypsin, amylase, lipase, and then what does these three enzymes do? Trypsin converts proteins into polypeptides, amylase converts starch into maltose, lipase converts lipids into fatty acids plus glycerol. Okay, glycerol. I'm giving you 1 minute to write this if you haven't write this yet. Okay, some student is asking, so miss, why we need two enzymes to digest the same organic compound? ඇයි අපිට එකම enzyme එකක් නැතුව එක enzyme තනින් ඇවිල්ලා එකම දේ digest කරන්න? I'll explain it like this. ඒක හරියට නිකන් division of labor වගේ. Okay, division of labor වගේ, because දැන් එකම organ එකකින් මේ reactions ඔක්කොම take place කරගන්න ගියොත් එකම organ එකකින් හරි okay. I think it is buccal cavity. You are going to do the whole digestion of starch into maltose from the buccal cavity. You have to chew and wait till it digests. Okay? And what about the efficiency? එතකොට දැන් අපි we take 3 meals per day. අපි එහෙම කරද්දී හැම අපි ගන්න meal එකක්ම salivary amylase වලින්ම maltose වෙනකන් අපි බලන් හිටියොත් what will happen? Something will happen to our buccal cavity. Because අපේ buccal cavity එකට work කරන්න පුළුවන් load එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඕනාවට වැඩි work කරන්න ගත්තොත් that will be a problem. Okay, likewise the same scenario happens to the stomach and the small intestine. Then protein වලත් හැම protein digestion එකම stomach එකේ වෙන්න ගත්තොත් so that is efficiency is decreased. ඒ කියන්නේ stomach machine එකකින් ගන්න පුළුවන් වැඩ load එකක් තියෙනවනේ. Other than that we can't take. Okay, so that it is somewhat like division of labor. අට්ටියට බෙදලා දෙනවා. මේක කරන්න likewise division of labor is happening there. Okay. Yes, I have now disabled the waiting room so that if you lost the connection, you can directly enter into this meeting without my permission. Okay? So otherwise you will miss some minutes now. So that to save your time, I took that step. Okay? So I hope you have understood. We'll see what is happening in the small intestine by the intestinal juice. Okay, there are 4 enzymes actually. Yes, 4 enzymes that is secreted by small intestine. That means not into the small intestine. Small intestine wall එකෙන් secrete කරන enzymes තියෙනවා 4. What are those 4? What are those 4 enzymes? Maltase, sucrase, lactase, and peptidase. You will think that these enzymes will be the names are very hard. But however, you have to remember these. Okay. Maltase, sucrase, and this peptidase and peptidase, and then finally lactase. These are the 4 enzymes that is secreted by the small intestine. Okay, small intestine wall actually. Okay, we are too late. We have to do. Okay, so right. What does this maltase do? Maltase මොනවද කරන්නේ? Maltase, we know that this starch was converted into maltose within the small intestine by the aid of amylase, the enzyme that is secreted from the pancreatic juice. හරිද? Pancreatic juice එකෙන් secrete කරපු amylase නිසා starch එක maltose වලට convert වුණා within the small intestine. දැන් මොකද මේ maltase වලින් කරන්නේ? What does this maltase do? It converts maltose මේ මෙතනින් හැදිච්ච maltose ටික maltase වලින් glucose වලට convert කරනවා. Okay, and not only maltose, also there is sucrose. මේ sucrose අපේ මේ digested end products වල තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ small intestine එකට sucrose උත් හම්බ වෙනවා. හැබැයි අපිට අපේ lesson එකේදී we don't have to discuss about the formation of sucrose in the digestion. So that මේ sucrase වලින් මොනවද කරන්නේ? They are going to convert sucrose into what? They are going to convert sucrose into glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose. Glucose and fructose. Okay, glucose and fructose. And what does this peptidase going to do? We know that the proteins, were digested into polypeptides. No? So this, what does this peptidase going to do? They are going to convert these polypeptides into amino acids, the smallest particle of protein. That means the monomer of protein. Amino acids within by the intestinal juice. That means peptidase. And then lactase. Again, L. That means somewhat related to lipids. We know that within the by the aid of pancreatic juice, this lactase is converted. These lipids were converted into what? Fatty acids and glycerol. So what does this lactase do? Is that somewhat converted into lipids? Then it lipids are සම්බන්ධ No, there is another. I said that then lipids break down and polymer particles ටික තමයි fatty acids and glycerol කියන්නේ. Lipids can't digest it further. ඊට වැඩිය digest වෙන්න බෑ. Lipid digestion is over by a single reaction. එක reaction එකකින් lipid digestion එක ඉවරයි. Here what is happening from lactase is, what does lactase going to do is, it is going to convert this lactose into what? Glucose plus galactose. Glucose plus galactose. Glucose plus galactose. Please write this down. Maltose into glucose by maltase and sucrose into glucose plus fructose. Polypeptides are converted into amino acids by peptidase, and lactose is converted into glucose plus galactose by lactase. Okay, please write this down. Yes, starch isn't completely digested into maltose in the buccal cavity. That means some parts of the starch is broken down into maltase, but the other amount of starch is digested into maltose within the small intestine. Okay, then I'm going to test this thing. The summary is, into the small intestine, two juices are going to secrete. That is small intestine, that is into the small intestine, two juices are going to secrete. That is pancreatic juice from the pancreas and intestinal juice from the intestinal walls. Okay, so what they are going to do, they are going to do some reactions. We have discussed it earlier. Okay, now we are going to do a moving to the other part. That means what happens to the food that is digested. Then අපි lipids digest කරලා ඉවරයි, proteins digest කරලා ඉවරයි, carbohydrates digest කරලා ඉවරයි. So what is now with the we have to think what is going to happen. Then මේ වලට මොනවද වෙන්නේ කියලා තමයි අපි හිතන්න යන්නේ. Okay, so what is going to happen is the summary, these carbohydrates digest ඉස්සලම තිබිච්ච carbohydrates එක, now it has been converted into glucose. Okay, and ඉස්සල තිබිච්ච proteins ටික, now it has been converted into amino acids. Okay, amino acids. And ඉස්සලා තිබිච්ච lipids ටික they have been converted into fatty acids plus glycerol. So අපි නම් ඉස්සර ඉගෙන ගද්දී අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා vitamins ගැන ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා minerals ගැනත් ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා balanced diet එක ගැන ඉගෙන ගන්න. So you might think what has happened to these vitamins and minerals and water. මේකට මොනවද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා you might think. These vitamins, minerals and water, they are not going to undergo actually digestion එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ. That means they are actually very small particles නේ. ඒගොල්ලන් they can move into the blood capillaries very easily. ඉතින් මේ tract එකේ buccal cavity එකේ ඉඳන් esophagus එකේ ඉඳන් stomach එක ඉඳන් හැම මේ යන මුළු tract එක දිගටම ඒගොල්ලන් තනින් absorb වෙවි තමයි යන්නේ. That means no digestion is take place. It is directly absorbed into the bloodstream. Okay, directly no digestion for minerals, water, and likewise all the things. Okay. Right. So these are the summary. This is the summary. That means here this glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol. We call those as end products, digested end products. Digested end products. Okay. Now after this we are going to see what happens to these digested end products. Okay. We have taken a lot of time so that we have to do the things very faster. Okay, students, have you completed? I hope that you have completed. So I'm going to raise this down. You might think then morning session again, meter now going as an express train. No. I'll try my best to explain it clearly and then to move on with a very high speed also. Okay, so that this is somewhat like this. Okay, now we have to see what is happening to this digested end products. What happens to digested end products? What is happening? What the digested end products are the venue? Okay, we are going to see monotherapy then digested end products. That means glucose, monosaccharides like glucose, and in proteins, amino acid is one of the digested product, and in lipids, glycerol and fatty acids. Okay, so that we then absorb on. Then digestion arrive. Now what we have actually that is voluntarily happening, involuntary happening. දැන් මොනවද වෙන්න ඕනේ? දැන් මේවා ටික ඔක්කොම අපේ බොඩි එකට absorb වෙන්න ඕනේ. So that we should get energy. අපිට energy එක ගන්න මේවා blood capillaries වලට absorb වෙන්න ඕනේ. අපේ body එක ඇතුළට absorb වෙන්න ඕනේ. So now we are going to do how this absorbs. Okay. Here somewhat difference is there. All the other particles. That means we knew that there is another question. I'm asking only observed. Absorption එක වෙන්නේ small intestine එකේ කියලා I'm going to tell you. Okay, we are discussing the adaptations of the small intestine for absorption. ඔහොම තමයි අපි ඊළඟට දැන් ඉස්සරහට කතා කරන්නේ. But I'm asking absorption වෙන්නේ small intestine එකේ විතරයි. That is the question I'm asking. Absorption වෙන්නේ small intestine, only in the small intestine. නැත්නම් වෙන organ එකකත් වෙනවද? If you know another organ, please send. No. Yes. No. That is the answer, because on digestion, absorption is not only happening in small intestine. I said you once that some part of the absorption is happening in the stomach also. What kind of absorption? When I absorb in the stomach stomach absorption we said that water, glucose, and some drugs are absorbed into the blood capillaries from what? From stomach. Then absorption. So when we ask what happens to the digested end products? Absorption. Absorption taking place in two organs. What are the two organs? Stomach and small intestine. But out of these two organs, small intestine is the major organ that that do the function absorption. Okay, absorption is very small intestine again. Okay, so we know that stomach can absorb water, minerals, and what? Some drugs. The small intestine can absorb okay. It is like this. Amino acids. Is it only amino acids? Amino acids with the so here minerals, part of some minerals and vitamins. Minerals and vitamins. And then what were the digested end product from the carbohydrates? That were monosaccharides like glucose, sucrose, and maltose. Okay, මේ වගේ monosaccharides absorb කරගන්නවා, amino acids absorb කරගන්නවා, vitamins and minerals absorb කරගන්නවා into what? Into blood capillaries. Blood capillaries. Now you might think, so what have you done to the lipids? Digested end products of lipids. Lipids are digested end products of what will happen? Isn't them going to absorb into the blood capillaries? Blood capillaries absorb? No. They are not going to absorb into the blood capillaries. Okay, that means in digested end products from the digested end products, meaning small intestine digested end products. What will happen to them? Absorb when blood capillaries some structures called lacteals. Lacteal structure they are going to absorb. What are the digested end products of lipids? Lipids are digested end product. Fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerol absorb into what? To which structure? It is absorbed into the lacteals. However, finally it will come to the body. Lacteals will absorb gunata. However, it will come to our body. Our body can distribute okay, but it is not absorbed into the blood capillaries directly. Blood capillaries will absorb. So absorption taking place in two organs, stomach and lacteals. Stomach and the small intestine is a major organ where the absorption taking place. Stomach. In stomach, water, mineral ions, and some drugs are absorbed. And in in small intestine, amino acids, mineral ions, and vitamins, monosaccharides like glucose, sucrose, and maltose are getting absorbed into the blood capillaries. But the digested end product of lipids, that means fatty acids and glycerol, that is being absorbed into the lacteals. So write this down quickly. While you are writing, I'm going to ask some questions. Okay, you can send me the answers. Okay, I can see that. Yes, Stalin, correct. Yes, small, large intestine. Yes, yes. In the large intestine is also absorption is taking place. And the absorption will large intestine. But the only difference is large intestine එකේදී absorb වෙන්නේ water. Okay? Water තමයි absorb වෙන්නේ. It is like ඇත්තටම කිව්වා this. Here these are digested end products here. Thank you. Thank you very much for me remembering me. That is in the large intestine also. What is happening? Absorption of water taking place. Okay. Actually, there are three organs. There is a main difference. Many of them digested end products. Okay, all these are digested end products. But these water, minerals, drugs, and water, minerals, and vitamins and minerals, they are not digested end products because they are not undergoing digestion. Water, minerals, drugs, they are not digestion undergo. So that these are not digested end product absorption. This is not an absorption. This is done for the digested end products. Here, this is the organ where the small intestine is the organ where the absorption of digestive end products happen. Okay. Write this down quickly. Okay. I said that I'm going to ask some questions. Okay. Tell me the organs where starch digestion is happening. Mention the organs where the starch digestion happens. Yes, buccal cavity, correct. Small intestine, correct. Buccal cavity and small intestine are the two organs where the starch digestion is happening. Okay. So, and tell me, the final digested end products. Final digested end products. Final digested end products. Yes, glucose, correct. Amino acids, yes, fatty acids and glycerol and monosaccharides. Monosaccharides, fatty acids, glycerol and amino acids. Vitamin. Vitamin. When it comes to vitamins, there is a small case in vitamins. That is true that the absorption of minerals and vitamins happen in small intestine. But there is a small difference. It can have mama here the digestion process explain kaliva. Have I mentioned about vitamin digestion? No, ne. Vitamin digestion that means vitamin is absorbed into the blood capillaries. ඒ කියන්නේ vitamins digest වෙන්නේ නැහැ because they are small. Because they are small and they can be easily transferred from that means they can be easily transferred into the blood capillaries. Okay, so that don't misunderstand these vitamins and minerals. They are directly absorbed into the small intestine without taking place in a digestion. Digestion එකක් වෙන්නේ නැතුව තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ absorb වෙන්නේ. Okay. Okay, I think the time is in. Sorry, that means I think you have right all the things. You have written all the things. So I'm going to raise the board. So I'm going to send a recording for all the students. So if you miss some parts, you can watch them. Tell me if you didn't understand. Okay? Okay. Okay. Then here it goes. Okay. Then we have to discuss about the adaptations of the small intestine. I said you that the small intestine is the major organ where the absorption of digested end products is happening. Okay, දැන් අපි බලන්න ඕනේ දැන් absorption එක වෙන්න මේ small intestine එකේ absorption එක වෙන්න small intestine එකට තියෙන adaptations මොනවද කියලා. Special qualifications ටිකක් තියෙනවා ඇතිනේ යාට එහෙම වෙන්න. So we'll see. These are some here. When we take small intestine, මේ පැත්තට අඳින්නේ but it is vertical, okay? Here small intestine එක ගත්තම මේ small intestine wall be like this. There are circular folds like this. And we know that this small intestine, it has a length about 7 meter. 7 meter length එකක් තියෙනවා. නේද? 7 meter length එකක් තියෙනවා මේ small intestine එකේ. Yes, thank you. 7 meter length. That means it is too much long. අද ගොඩක් දිග එකක් තමයි මේ small intestine. ඉතින් මේ ඇයි මෙච්චර දිග එකක් අපේ බඩි එක ඇතුලේ තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ? බඩි එකට පිස්සුද? අපිට මෙච්චර ලොකු දිග organ එකක් තියෙන්නේ? No, there is a specific role and there is a reason for this longness. මේ longness එකට ගොඩක් ලොකු reason එකක් තියෙනවා. That is why දැන් හිතන්න මේ අපේ දැන් අපේ මේ here small intestine එකට එන්නේ chyme. Okay? මේ small intestine එකට stomach එකකින් එන chyme එක යන මොකක් හරි flow rate එකක් තියෙනවා. flow වෙන velocity එකක් තියෙනවා. Think that it is flowing like this. මෙන්න මේ වගේ velocity එකකින් යනවා. Okay? දැන් මෙහෙම යද්දී what will happen? 7 meter length එකේ යද්දී විතරයි නම් මේ absorption එක වෙන්නේ. If small intestine was like this, මෙච්චර විතර size න small intestine එක මෙන්න මෙතනදී විතරක් චුට්ටක් මේ අපි අපේ food particles අපේ digested food materials වලින් ටිකක් විතරක් absorb වෙයි. blood stream එකට චුට්ටක් විතරක් යයි. Okay, මේ small නේ වෙලාවක් නෑ absorb වෙන්න. පුළුවන් තරම් මේ absorb කරලා ඉතුරු ටික ඔක්කොම ඉතින් ANS එකෙන් තමයි එළියට එන්නේ. Because no any other organ to undergo this digestion absorption එක වෙන්නේ small intestine එකේ විතරයි නම් ඉතින් small intestine එකෙන් මේව absorb වෙන්නේ small intestine එක short වුණොත් චුට්ටක් විතරක් absorb වෙයි ඔක්කොම absorb වෙන එකක් නෑ. Then the remaining part will move on to the large intestine, then it will come into the rectum and finally it will exit from the anus. Useless ne? That is why this is too much long. ඉතින් මේ අඟලම මේ chyme එක හිමීට එන හැමතැනකදීම චුට්ට එන කම්ම ඔක්කොම ටික absorb කර ඉන්නේ. හරිද? ඔක්කොම ටික blood capillaries වලට absorb කර යවන්නේ. So that one adaptation of the small intestine for this absorption role is මේ absorption එක කරන්නම තමයි මේ long වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. One first adaptation, longness. Long tube occurs as a long tube. Okay. ඒගොල්ලෝ long tube එකක් විදිහට occur වෙන එක reason එකක්. Second reason එක තමයි මොකද්ද second reason එක? මම කිව්වේ මේ circular folds විදිහට මේ intestinal wall එක තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So that circular folds තියෙන එක adaptation එකක්. You might think but then මේ circular folds වල තියෙන එක adaptation. This is somewhat like this. දැන් හිතන්න if I wait. I am going to fold this paper into several. Here the area is very less. හරිද? ඕගලන්ට දැන් මම කියනවා මේ මම දෙන මුළු note එකම මෙන්න මේ ටික ලියන්න කියලා. Can you write? No, this is very much small. හරිද? If I expanded this, මම මේක තව ටිකක් surface area එක ලොකු කරලා I'm giving it to you, write the entire note. Then you will say, yes, we can write now. Okay. දැන් මේ surface area එක ලොකු කරන්න ඕනේ අපිට ලොකු වැඩක් කරන්න නම්. If we have to do the work completely, if we want to do the work completely, the surface area should be larger. Okay. So small intestine එකේ මේ circular folds තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? Absorption එකට ඕනේ surface area එක increase කරන්න. Absorption එක take place කරන්න ඕනේ surface area එක increase කරන්න තමයි මෙන්න මේ circular folds තියෙන්නේ. So that the second adaptation is presence of circular folds. මේ circular folds එකදී බලන්නකෝ මම දැන් මෙහෙම wall එකක් තිබ්බට වැඩිය බලන්න what about the surface area? මේකේ surface area here. If we calculated the surface area මෙහෙම නිකම්ම epithelial lining එකක් වගේ තියනවට වැඩිය මේ inner wall එකේ මෙහෙම circular folds විදිහට තිබ්බම surface area එක වැඩි. So that presence of these circular folds are to increase the surface area. Okay. And it is more effective in absorption. That is the second reason. Then we are going to the third reason. Third reason, මේ circular folds ඇතුලේ power surface area එක increase කරන්න මෙහෙම තව චූටි finger like projections. ඒ කියන්නේ actually දැන් ඒක microscope එකකින් බලුවොත් it will look like this. මේ fingers වගේ තමයි ඒක තියෙන්නේ. Okay? So these finger like projections වලට අපි කියනවා these finger like projections we call it as villi. Villi. Presence of villi. Presence of villi is another reason. Okay, presence of villi. And then within this microvilli, මේක ඉවරයක් නෑ. මේ microvilli එකේ තවත් surface area එක increase කරන්න. It contains microvilli. මේ villi එක ඇතුලේ දැන් මේ villi එක ලොකු කරලා බලුවම මේ villi එක ඇතුලේ අපිට පේනවා මෙන්න මේ microvilli තියෙනවා. Okay, microvilli තියෙනවා. Fourth reason is presence of microvilli. I will write it as microvilli. Okay, microvilli, presence of microvilli. And the final one, vascularized. Vascularized what? Vascularized villi. ඇයි vascularized කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ villi? Villi vascularized කරලා තියෙන්නේ. There is a specific reason for that even. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් හිතන්න vascularized කරලා තිබ්බම that is මේ vascularized කරනවා කියන්නේ නිකන් ගම් ගන්නවා වගේ තමයි. Small intestine එක අරගෙන ගම් දැම්මා වගේ තමයි. So what will happen? ගම් දැම්මම මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේ එන ඔක්කොම chime එකේ තියෙන ඔක්කොම particles ටික හැමතිස්සෙම මේ villi උඩ මේ ඇලවෙන්න බලන්න. That means they are going to absorb, remain a long time within this vascularized villi. ගොඩ වෙලාවක් මේ vascularized villi වල ඉන්න බලන්න. So that ගොඩ වෙලාවක් ඉතින් අන්න අර absorption එක ඉක්මනට කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. That means දැන් අපිට උනා ඔයගලන් ගොඩ වෙලාවක් මේ මීටින් එකේ හිටියොත් තමයි මට මගේ මුළු lesson එකම ගන්න පුළුවන්. If you come just joined to the meeting and left, no. Then I can't teach them. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේ absorption එක වෙන්න there must be a specific time. The small intestine needs a specific time. So that this vascularizing of villi is to do that. මේ time එක දෙන්න තමයි මේ small intestine එකේ ඉන්නේ. Okay. Write it down. Quickly write it down. And after this seminar also, if you have any subject matter, please send me a message. I'm going to help you, okay? So I see that some students have not come. Some have informed that they have other classes. Okay, I will send the recording. Okay, we will move on. Someone is asking, the bile can මොකද්ද? What happens to the bile? I will tell, okay. I will tell after discussing about large intestine, I'm going to say bile. මොකද මේ bile තමයි හැමතිස්සෙම ළමයිට අමතක වෙන්නේ. Okay. මේ bile ගැන තමයි හැමතිස්සෙම අමතක වෙන්නේ. So at last I'm going to give a specific note called bile. Okay. I'm going to just the board. Oh, we have limited time. Okay. Small intestine. This absorption is done by small intestine. Small intestine again. Small intestine. Small intestine again absorption වෙනවද? That is the reason I'm going to ask. Small intestine again absorption වෙනවද? Yes. Small intestine in the small intestine I said water absorption is happening. But the only difference is water absorption කියලා කියන්නේ water කියලා කියන්නේ digested material එකක් නෙමෙයි. Digested end product එකක් නෙමෙයි water කියන්නේ. Absorption is happening but it is not digested end product absorption. Okay? So that in the small intestine water absorption is taking place. In the small intestine, water absorption is taking place. Okay. That is the function of small intestine. And when we think about the length of the small intestine, it is about 1.5 meter length, 1.5 meters in length. And small intestine, large intestine it appears like this. මෙන්න මේ වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. The small intestine is connecting like this. Likewise. දැන් මෙහෙම තමයි අපේ large intestine එක තියෙනවා. Then I said that absorption is absorption of what is happening in this large intestine. Why this is happening? ඇයි මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ? Water absorbed වෙන්නේ ඇයි large intestine? There is a reason for that even. අපි දන්නවා මේ large intestine එක ඇත්තටම what they are trying to do is they are going to get ready the fecal matter. Fecal matter ටික ready කරන්න තමයි ඒගොල්ලන් යන්නේ. හරිද? මේ large intestine එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන්නේ මොනවද? Water and undigested cellulose. අර fibers වල තියෙන්නේ cellulose, undigested cellulose තමයි මේ water and undigested cellulose තමයි මේ large intestine එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන්නේ. Okay? So water and undigested cellulose 1.5 meters in length and water absorption is happening. That means what is going away from the small intestine. Okay? ඇයි එහෙම වෙන්නේ? Fecal matter නේ හදනවා. I know that every one of you have seen fecal. Your own fecal matter you have seen. Okay? Sometimes others also. Okay? Then fecal matter ගත්තම have you ever seen මෙම water that means I mean not in diarrhea condition. Okay, diarrhea condition එකේ නැතුව normally fecal matter water liquid fluid විදියට pass වෙනවා දැකලා තියෙනවා. No, it passes as a semi-fluid, semi-solid. It passes as a semi-solid. And liquid ut නැති, solid ut නැති, medium semi-solid එකක් විදියට තමයි ඒකලා pass වෙන්නේ. But it is mostly like a solid. Okay, so fecal matter passes as semi-solid. ඇයි මේ water absorb වෙන්නේ? මේ fecal matter semi-solid එකක් විදියට pass කරන්න ඕනේ නිසා. Fecal matter semi-solid එකක් විදියට pass කරන්න ඕනේ නිසා තමයි මේ water absorb වෙන්නේ. දැන් water තිබ්බම it will pass as a liquid. එකපාරටම liquid එකක් වගේ තමයි මේ fecal matter යන්නේ. Okay, so to prevent this, what they do? May water absorption is taking place in the that is the large intestine. Okay, that is large intestine taking place in the large intestine. The large intestine එකේදී water absorption එක තමයි අපේ main process එක. ඊට පස්සේ now we are going to discuss about the properties of this fecal matter. What is the color of the fecal matter? I know that all of you know. The color it is like yellow in color, likewise yellow in color. Okay, this yellow color is due to what? Due to the bile pigments. Okay, this yellow color is due to bile pigments. This yellow color is due to bile pigments, and fecal matter is yellow color due to bile pigments. Okay, and this fecal matter contains all the undigested food. Again, undigested food හැම එකක්ම. Undigested food කියන්නේ waste matter. So that all this undigested food is passed through the fecal matter. Okay. So quickly write this down. That means large intestine is 1.5 meters in length, and water absorption is taking place. Water and undigested cellulose is present in this small large intestine, and bile pigments are present in. That means actually bile pigments are also present in this large intestine. Okay, due to this presence of bile pigments, තමයි fecal matter yellow in color වෙන්නේ. Okay. Students, I am going to give a small break for you due to a error that is happening in my laptop. So that after this break, I am going to start the session at 8:30. Okay, the next session we are too late. I hope that I will find some more short methods and we'll start the next session. Okay, after writing this, go to the next session. Okay, that means that this session is over after writing this. Okay.